Welcome back, fellow dragons. Hold on a minute. There we go, that's a little better. I probably should not be recording this right now, because my voice is going to be a little worn out, probably. But I want to play with the microphone some more. Plus, I need to swap which console my capture card is attached to. But I want to finish recording this first. I have a different game I want to play on a different console that I want to record on. So, yeah. Let me just, do a thing real quick. Alright. The strap of the travel bag dug into my shoulder. Not surprising since it's got both of our things in it. That's fine. I can make do by carrying it with both hands. Alright. I will respond to that later.
なんで男の俺が小さい手提げで女のお前が旅行カバン持ってんだよ。そっちよこせ。
How come I'm the man and I've got this tiny handbag while you're carrying that big travel bag? Yet no, give it here.
これくらい持てる。
I can carry this much. Stop letting other people's sexism get to you.
バカ。んな無理してたら海に着く前にへばっちまうぞ。いいからほら。
Dummy, push yourself like that and you'll be exhausted before we even reach the sea. Come on, hand it over.
アキト、仕事で疲れてるから荷物持ちくらいしようと思ってたのに。
You're tired from work, so I thought the least I could do is carry our things.
お前はいちいち気にしすぎなんだよ。俺はそんなにやわじゃねえ。あとな。
You don't gotta sweat small stuff like that. I ain't that weak. Besides...
あと
Besides what?
なんでもねえや。
Nothing. Never mind.
途中で止められると気になる。
It bothers me when you don't finish what you're saying.
俺はお前に頼られるのが嫌いじゃねえんだよ。
Just... I don't hate it when you rely on me, okay?
嫌いじゃない。でも好きでもない。
You don't hate it, but you don't necessarily like it either.
好きだよ。大好きだよ。だから頼れ。わかったか？
Oh, come on. I do like it. I freaking love it. So lean on me. Both literally and figuratively. Got it? Oh, shit. Okay.
でも一つは荷物持たせて。
But at least let me carry one thing.
は？なんでだよ。
Huh? Why?
アキトが両手に荷物を持ったら手をつなげないから。
Because we can't hold hands if you're carrying everything. His face, already red with embarrassment, flushed a deeper crimson. He silently handed me one of the things he was carrying. The old train cut through the wind as it zipped along. I felt happy just watching the scenery outside slowly change the further we went.
そういや、泊まる場所の説明をしてなかったな。
Oh, yeah, I guess I haven't explained where we're staying yet. I rented a cottage near the ocean for us to stay for these 5 days.
コテージ。どうやってそんな場所を借りたの？
A cottage? How did you manage to rent a place like that?
店長のつてでな。結構安くしてもらえた。
Did through all my manager's acquaintances. Got a pretty good deal on it too.
釣り具とかも置いてあるらしい。好きに使っていいそうだ。
They've supposedly got fishing equipment there, so they said we're free to use it if we want.
釣り。お魚釣るの？
Fishing? So we're going to fish.
ああ、楽しみだな。
Yep, looking forward to it.
うん。
Yeah. We spent several hours on the swaying train before arriving at our destination. The sun was already setting, so there wasn't much of a view, but the wind carried the smell of the salty seawater, indicating we were close to the ocean.
コテージに行く前に町に寄るか。米とか食料仕入れねえと。
Want to stop by the town before we go to the cottage? We gotta get rice and some other groceries. We visited a store that carried a wide variety of food, and Akito briskly wrapped up his shopping.
こんなにたくさん買うの？
We were going to buy all
コ
this.
テージには何もないらしいからな。3食魚だけってのも飽きるだろ。
There ain't nothing at the cottage from what I hear, and we'll get tired of eating fish for every meal.
おや、あんたらコテージに泊まるのかい？海の近くの。
Oh my, you two are going to be staying in a cottage near the ocean, I assume?
ああ、
Yeah.
それなら水も買った方がいいんじゃないかね。水道が事故で壊れちまってね、水道が使えないんだよ。
In that case, I think you might want to buy some water too. The local water supply was destroyed in an accident, see, so you can't use the tap.
それはまずいな。
Ugh, that ain't good.
まあ水がないと生活できないからね。海水じゃ代用できないし。
Yeah, people can't live without fresh water, and we can't use seawater as a substitute. The shop owner explained that despite living near the ocean, there were still water shortages. Some might wonder why that was, since the ocean had plenty of water to spare. But seawater has so much salt in it that it was difficult to filter out and make usable. I certainly wouldn't want to drink seawater as is. I had a habit of taking it for granted, but water was really a precious resource.
俺らが泊まるのは浜の方なんだけど、そっちもダメなのか？
We're actually staying on the beach. Is the situation any better there?
ああ、そっちなら大丈夫だ。水路じゃなく地下水を利用してるはずだからな。
Yes, you should be fine there. The cottages there are using underground wells instead of water
地
lines.
下水？
Underground water?
この辺には誰が掘ったかわからない地下の洞窟があってね。その奥に浄化された水でできた池があるんだ。
Don't know who dug it out, but there's an underground cave in that area. Deep down inside is a pond full of purified water.
地下に洞窟って初めて聞くな。
First I've heard of an underground cave like that.
この辺の子供たちにとっては格好の遊び場だよ。いつできたかも不明なのに意外と頑丈でね。
Makes a great play area for the local kids. None of us know when it was created, but it's surprisingly sturdy.
水路が整うまではこの辺もずっと地下水を使っていたんだ。浜の方はまだそうじゃないかな。多分昔の名残で外に井戸があるはずだよ。
This area used to always use underground water until the water lines were built. The places on the beach still use it, though. You'll probably find a well outside, remnant of the old
な
days.
んか微妙な話だな。もし井戸がなかったら水をここまで買いに来なきゃなんねんだろ？
Kinda weird to think about. I'm guessing if there ain't a well, then we'll have to come all the way into town to buy our water.
そうだね。沖のあたりは店も家もほとんどないから、念のため買っといた方がいいかもしれないよ。
Yep, there are hardly any stores out there on the coast, so it might be a good idea for you to buy some just in case. We followed the shopkeeper's advice and bought some bottled water. It probably wouldn't be enough if we discovered we had no access to water at the coast, but we'd worry about that once we arrived. We unloaded our bags and collapsed onto the sofa together. It had taken many hours and a lot of stamina to make our way here. We probably didn't have the energy to do anything else today besides crawl into bed. The wind. Our roomy cottage was made entirely out of wood. I'd heard that houses near the sea used metal as little as possible to avoid damage from the salty sea air. The breeze in the room was probably purposeful. The added ventilation would ensure moisture didn't build up.
いい部屋だな。あとは水が問題なけりゃいいんだが。
It's a nice room. As long as we got water, we'll be set. It would be tough to stay here for 5 days if we didn't have water, and the outside well the shopkeeper suggested we might find was nowhere to be seen. With that absent, it didn't seem like the house used the underground water. Still, futile or not, we decided to twist the faucet and see what would happen.
もしダメなら別の場所に移動だな。
If there ain't any water, we'll go elsewhere.
鳥類動物園
To an aviary?
以外だ。
Anywhere but there. Oh. A stream of water flowed from the faucet. It was thin at first, like a thread, but it slowly gained momentum and grew significantly.
出た
There's water.
出たな。どういうことだ。こっちの水道は壊れてなかったってことなのか。
There is... What's this mean then? That the water lines over here ain't broken or something?
どうだろうでもこれで水の問題は解決
Good question. Whatever the case, our water problem is solved.
だな。海を目の前にして干からびるなんてことがなくてよかった。
Yep, glad we won't shrivel up right in front of the ocean.
今日は風呂入ってさっさと寝ようぜ。お前も疲れただろ。
Well, let's hit the bath then. Let's hit the bath and get some sleep. You gotta be tired too. Yeah. After bathing, I changed into my pajamas and the two of us crawled into bed. The exhaustion from work must have really built up because Akito quickly fell asleep as he lay beside me. Meanwhile, I was fully awake for some reason. I could hear the ocean in the distance. The size of the waves alternated as they swept in, then receded. The rhythmic ebb and flow sounded almost like music. Suddenly I heard a noise from outside. What could it be? There was no one there. Perhaps the wind had blown something over? I'm overthinking it. Feeling anxious about every gust of wind and every tiny sound was a bad habit of mine. The only people here were Akito and me. I needed to stop thinking about anyone or anything besides him. The moonlight formed a path into the dark sea, stretching ever forward, far into the distance. I wondered what was at the end of the path. It was so beautiful, so captivating, that I almost found myself wanting to go out into there and discover the answer. I gazed at the ocean for a while, but I still couldn't settle down. Instead, I read the flyer I had brought with us. It was probably just an advertisement meant to reel tourists into the beach, but for some reason I liked it. Why is the ocean so salty? Why is the sea so big? How can you make friends with fish? It was crammed with typical questions children would ask, the kinds adults would never pause to ponder because such things already seemed so normal to them. That night, my dreams revolved completely around the sea, perhaps because I had listened to the waves as I read the flyer before bed, yeah. Oh,
べ過ごした。
crap, I overslept. It was an hour past Akito's usual wake-up time, but he still seemed drowsy.
何もやばくない。今日はお休みだから。あと4日もあるし。
Nothing wrong with that. You have today off, and 4 more after this.
そうだな。たまにはこういうのもいいか。
You're right. Guess sleeping in ain't bad now and then.
うん。だから今日は私が朝食を。
Yeah. So I'll make breakfast this morning.
よし、起きるか。朝飯作るから、お前は支度してこい。
Alright, up and I'll make breakfast, so, you go get ready. After a quick breakfast, we went out for a walk. The sea was quiet. All we could hear was the wind and waves along with our own footsteps. The closer we came to the water's edge, the more pale the sea looked. The waves reminded me of white blades. No sooner would you try to touch them than they would shrink back. As I watched them recede, I was overcome with more emotion as it sank in that we were really here.
やっぱ海にいると海の夢を見るんだな。鏡がいりゃ夢の意味とかもわかるんだろうが。
I guess when you come to the ocean, you dream of it. If Kagami were here, he might be able to tell us the reason for that. But I don't trust that guy around. I don't trust that guy.
私も同じ。
I have established that several times.
海の底で暮らす夢。
I dreamed of the sea too. Mine was of a life at the bottom of the ocean.
へえ、そりゃいい夢だな。
Yeah, sounds like a nice dream to me.
エラ呼吸の方法を魚に教えてもらったけど、身につけることができなくて、最後には陸に上がった。
I had a fish teach me how to breathe through gills, but I was unable to use those skills myself. So in the end, I had to return to the surface.
そこは夢なんだから都合よく行けよ。
It's just a dream. Let your imagination run free a little.
アキトは？
What about you, Akito?
ああ、でも俺もちょっと近いかもな。世界中が海に沈むっていう夢。
Yeah, mine was actually kind of like yours. I dreamed the whole world was sinking into the sea.
私たち夢の中まで後ろ向き。
We're even pessimistic in our dreams.
これがお泊まるとかなら自由に海を泳げる夢やうまい魚を食う夢とかなんだろうな。
If it were Otomaro, he'd probably dream of swimming free or eating delicious fish.
おとまるさんと私たちを比べてはいけない。天と地以上の開きがある。
We can't compare ourselves to him. That's like comparing the sun and the moon.
けど悲惨だけど結構綺麗な夢だったぜ。普段知ってる街がいつもと違って見えてずっと見てたいって思ったくらいだ。
The dream I had was tragic but beautiful. The town we know so well looked completely different underwater. Almost didn't want to tear my eyes away.
チラシに書いてあったことだけど、この星はいつか海だけの星になるかもしれないんだって。
It was written in the flyer that one day this planet may be nothing but ocean.
どういうことだ？
What do you
こ
mean?
の大地は移動してるんだって。長い時の中で何度か大きな地震が起こって。
It said that the planet's land masses are always moving, and over a long period of time we've had numerous big earthquakes.
大昔はもっと大地の面積は広かったそうだけど、この過程で地上は海に飲まれていった。
Also, long ago, the land used to be much bigger than it is now. Over time, it's been swallowed up by the sea.
だから何百年何千年かの未来、アキトが夢見た通りになるかもしれない。それまでにエラ呼吸習得しなきゃ。
So in some hundreds of thousands of years from now, the planet may be just like it was in your dreams. I'll need to practice gill breathing before that happens.
お前はこの先どんだけ生きるつもりなんだよ。
Just how long are you planning to... Just how long are you planning to live for anyway?
そういや、お前の名前にも海って漢字が入ってたな。親はどんなつもりでナナミってつけたんだ？
Come to think of it, your name's got the character for C in it, right? Why'd your parents name you Nanami anyhow?
わからない。聞いたことないから。
I don't know. I never asked.
そろそろ魚釣りに行くか。正直釣れるかどうかわかんねえけど。
How about we try some fishing? Not sure whether we can actually do it or not, but it's worth a try.
釣った魚の数で勝負したい。
I want to compete to see who catches the
いい
most.
ぜ。何をかける？
You're on. What are we betting?
相手の願い事を何でも聞くとか。
How about the loser does whatever the winner wants?
ああ、いいぜ。ってちょっと待った。何でもはやめねえか。お前のことだ。常識の範疇を超えたことを要求してきそうな気がする。
Sure thing. Wait, hold on a sec. Let's not take the anything goes approach. This is you we're talking about. I get the feeling you'll ask for something outside the bounds of common sense.
そんなことしない。それじゃあ何なら納得するの？
That's not true, but if you insist. What should we do instead, then?
先に願い事が何か言っておく。内容によっては却下もありだ。
Say what we want before we agree on the bet. Depending on what you ask for, I might refuse.
それだと勝負に面白みが欠ける。
But that takes the fun out of it.
いいから言えよ。
Come on, just spit it out. I'm gonna pick this one. It probably won't be correct, but I'm picking anyway. Ask Akito to
アキ
share
ト
a
の秘
secret.
密が知りたい。
Eh,
I want to know one of your secrets.
秘密？そんなもんねえよ。
You want to know a secret? Don't have
ない
any.
ことはないと思う。どうして鳥が苦手なのかとか、いくら聞いても教えてくれない？
I doubt that. No matter how many times I ask you why you're scared of birds, you still haven't told me.
それは別に大した理由じゃ。
It ain't for any special reason or nothing.
今教えてくれたなら、他のお願いにする。
If you tell me the reason now, I'll change my request to something else.
いや、それでいい。どうせ他の願い事もろくなもんじゃねえだろうし。お前より絶対釣ってやる。
Nah, we'll go with that. I can't really ask whatever else you'd ask. It'd probably be over the top. I'll make sure I snag more fish than you. He really doesn't want to tell me, huh? Several hours passed after that, and by the time the evening sky began to dye the sea orange, our match was over. The end result was... Ooh, that's pretty.
俺の勝ちだな。
I win.
なんだよ、その不満そうな顔は。
What's got you looking so grumpy?
ワカメは魚じゃない。
Seaweed is not a fish.
何も釣れなかったお前と比べれば、勝ちは勝ちだ。
Considering you ain't caught nothing, win's still a win. Now I won't be able to hear why he's so scared of birds. I wonder if Yuiga and Nijo know the reason. They do. I did not record that part. But in showing what the guys were up to before getting on the ship, or right when they first started on the ship, you know, the pre-prologue shit, Akito tells them.
そういえば、アキトのお願い事を聞いてない。先に言ったの私だけ。それもずるい。
Oh, come to think of it, I never heard what you wanted to ask for because I went first. That's not fair.
聞かなかったお前が悪いだろ。俺のお願いは。
It's your own fault for not asking. Anyhow, what I wanted to
もう少
request...
ししてから言う。それまで待っとけ。
I'll tell you a little later. Just wait here till then, okay? Our day of fishing and exploring the ocean came to a close. It was a fulfilling one. We were able to discuss things we'd never normally talked about. The bed creaked under our combined weight. Unlike yesterday, we faced each other as we lay under the blanket and chatted.
明日は何する？もう一回釣りでもするか？
What are we gonna do tomorrow? Fish some more?
砂の塔を作りたい。アキトの身長を越すくらいの高さの塔。
I want to build a sandcastle, one that's bigger than you.
お前のそのチャレンジ精神はどこから来るんだ？ま、いいけどな。
Where's the drive to try such crazy things even come from, huh? Ain't anything wrong with it, but still, huh? Akito seemed to realize something because his finger brushed against my
お
cheek.
前、ちょっと肌赤くなってるな。日の光にやられたのか？
Your skin's kinda red. Got a little sunburnt, huh? Now that he mentioned it, there was some heat lingering on my cheeks.
もう夏も終わったけど、ここの日差しはまだ強いからな。冷やすか？
Summer may be over, but the sunlight here is still strong. Do you need to cool your skin off?
大丈夫。
No, it's fine.
気をつけろよ。お前は肌が弱いんだから。
You better be careful. You got sensitive skin. I started to nod, but then a question popped into my mind. How did Akito know about my sensitive skin? When I asked, his face turned an even deeper shade of red than mine.
そんなの見りゃわかるだろ。大したことじゃね
It's obvious enough just by looking. Ain't a big deal or nothing.
見たらわかることなの？
Is that really something you could tell just by looking? The answer is sometimes.
え。見たらっていうか、触ったらっていうか。 もうそれ以上聞くな。
Looking, or more like touching. Don't ask more questions. It's embarrassing. I'm sorry about all the yawning. I cannot help it. I'm exhausted. I have this problem where I feel like I'm getting sick all the time. But unless I get a fever, I can't call into work. Which creates a problem. And the reason I can't call into work unless I get a fever is because I can't tell if it's my fucking depression or not. Anyway, I had asked something apparently I had asked something I shouldn't. There were so many of these sorts of landmines with Akito that it made it difficult to navigate conversation.
それにしてもこんなに2人だけで過ごすのはいつ以来だ。
Anyway, how long's it been since we spent time together, just the two of us?
船に乗っている時はよく2人でいたけど、降りてからは小春さんたちが一緒だったからかなり久々。
We were alone together a lot when we were on the ship, but since disembarking, we've been with Koharu and Ichinose the entire time. So, quite a while.
だよな。お前今の暮らしどうだ？楽しいか？
Yep, I figured. So, what do you think of our life right now? Enjoying it? Yeah.
そうか。じゃあ共同生活を始めたのも間違いじゃなかったんだよな。
Really? Then I guess it wasn't a bad call for us all to live together.
間違いだなんてそんなこと絶対ない。アキトと一ノ瀬さんは一緒に暮らすべきだと思うから。
It was definitely not a bad call. Not at all. In fact, I think you and Ichinose should live together.
そりゃあこういう生活も悪くねえさ。千里といろいろ話せるようになったのも一緒に暮らしたからだ。
Well, sure, the way we're living now ain't bad at all. The only reason I'm able to talk to Senri about all this stuff is, about all the stuff I have is because we're under one roof.
俺ら兄弟のことにお前や小春を付き合わせて悪いと思ってるよ。
But I do feel guilty towards you and Koharu for dragging you two into our sibling problems.
そんな、私も小春さんも何とも思ってない。むしろ二人が幸せそうにしているのを見ると嬉しくなる。
Oh, no, Koharu and I aren't bothered by that at all. If anything, we're glad to see the two of you happy.
千里の仕事もまだ軌道に乗ったとは言えないし、しばらくはこのままでいいと思う。けど、いつかは変わらねえと。
Senri's job ain't fully on track yet, and I figure it'll be like that for a while. But at some point, things are gonna have to change.
なあ、ナナミ。
Hey, Nanami. He called my name so suddenly that it sent a jolt straight to my heart.
俺はお前とずっと一緒にいたい。ちゃんとけじめつけて家庭を築きたいと思ってる。
I want to be with you forever. I want to make a clear distinction about what our relationship is, and eventually build a family together.
お前は違うのか。だから結婚しなくてもいいって言ったのか。
Do you feel differently? Is that why you said before that you don't need marriage? It was only now that I finally realized what Kakami and Toya had been saying back then. I hadn't put much thought into my answer, claiming that nothing would change, but in a way that was a declaration of my feelings. There was nothing wrong with a future in which the four of us continued to live together forever, but that wasn't what Akito pictured for himself. Akito cared deeply for Ichinose as his older brother, which is why I thought he would want to be together with him forever. But what Akito was thinking is about a future with just the two of us. He wants to build our own family together. A wave of happiness washed over me. For a moment I forgot to breathe as I stood there gawking at him.
おい、大丈夫か？
Hey, you okay? Flustered, I broke out of the dazed state I was in. But even then, the frantic pounding of my heart wouldn't abate. It was as though a fire had been lit inside of me, and with it, the ice that had built up deep in my heart began to melt. I took several deep breaths, trying to calm myself. Then Akito's words turned over in my mind, trying to properly digest their meaning. What exactly is a family? Something happy and warm? A breeze swept in from somewhere. An ominous wind that dyed my heart black. The flame within me flickered.
ダメ、アキト。
I can't, Akito. Huh?
私は知らない幸せな家庭を。
I don't know what it's like to have a happy family.
家庭って子供もいる？でも私は子供とどんな風に接したらいいかわからない。
Does a family mean children? But I don't even know how to interact with children.
そもそも私なんかが人の親になれるとも思えない。そんな未来見えない。
I can't even picture someone like me being a parent. I can't imagine a future like that. I was treated like a tool my entire life. At the very least, I know my relationship with my parents isn't normal.
まともなものを知らない私が人を産み育てるなんて無責任なことできない。
I can't take on the responsibility of raising someone else. Not when I don't know what a normal family is like myself. I'm gonna talk to the game again, fellow dragons, even though I know that these characters are fictional drawings on a screen and can't hear me. Hey, Nanami? There's no such thing as a normal family. The word normal is subjective. And at the very least, given all the things you've been through, you have an example of what not to do. You'd still make your own mistakes, sure, but you have two different very good examples of what not to do. I think you and Akito have got this, maybe. But that's up to you two. And I get why you're letting your trauma affect you, but using the word normal like that always is gonna bug me.
そんなことをするくらいなら今の暮らしを続けた方がずっといい。
If that's what it means to build a family, then I'd much rather continue living the way we are now.
ナナミ。
Nanami. Huh?
なんだ？
What the? The window, which had been opened to ventilate the room, suddenly slammed shut. In the same instant, the light went out, bathing us in
風で
darkness.
しまったのか。
Did the wind blow it shut? Akito tried the doorknob, but it wouldn't budge.
くそ。なんで開かねえんだ。ナナミ、窓はどうだ？
Damn it, why won't it open? Nanami, how about the window?
こっちもダメ。
The window's no good either.
どういうことだ？
What the hell's going on? Akito tried slamming his body against the door, but it didn't give an inch. For nothing to open like this is making me think that someone on the other side is locking us in. There's no point in trying any further. Oh no. That voice.
おい、誰だてめえ。
Hey, who the hell are you?
アキト
Akito?
どうした？
What is it?
七海か。
Nanami?
父上
Father. Ugh. In that moment, it was like my life flashed before my eyes. All these memories of the past rushed at me. I saw the people whose memories I had erased. I remembered the days when I wasn't allowed to have a will of my own. The person whose memories I wanted to erase most of all were my own. If that would allow me to run from it all, then I would have done so in a heartbeat. But I couldn't erase my memories. The pain and suffering would linger forever.
おい、ナナミ、大丈夫か？
Hey, Nanami, you okay? She is having a panic attack, Akito. You're gonna need to make a choice in a minute, man. You're either gonna need to hug and comfort her, or kick the ass of her abuser. I'm voting kick the ass of her abuser. Because once he's gone, then you can soothe her after that, and get both of you some fucking therapy.
なぜ帰ってこない。旅を終えてもう随分経っているはずだ。
Why won't you come home? It's been a long time since your travels ended.
父の言うことをなぜ聞かない。旅立つ前に言っただろう。世界の役目が終わったらすぐ帰ってくるようにと。
Why won't you listen to your father? I told you before you left, remember? Once your duty to the world is fulfilled, you are to come home.
よりにもよってその男のもとにいるとは。そんな愚か者に育てたつもりはないぞ。
Of all the people you could be with, it had to be this man. I didn't raise you to be such a fool. I needed to say it properly, to tell him that I wasn't going home, that I was going to live with Akito, that I had lost my powers and couldn't erase people's memories anymore. I had to say it in my own words, but the more I pressured myself mentally, the more my mouth dried up and my throat tightened.
悪いが、こいつをあんたのところに返す気はねえよ。諦めてくれ。
Not sorry, but I got no plans to let her go back with an abusive bastard like you. So fucking give up already.
お前と話すことはない。しくりあき。
I have nothing to say to you, Akito Shikuri.
お前が娘と共にいるのは復讐をするためだろう。弟の記憶を消した娘を憎んでいないはずはない。
The only reason you're with my daughter is to exact your revenge, I'm sure. You must hate her for having erased your younger brother's memories.
そんなんじゃねえよ。俺は。
That ain't true at all. Bitch, you missed an entire story arc, man, so fuck off.
ナナミ、帰るぞ。これ以上私の手を煩わせる。
Nanami, we're going home. Don't cause any further trouble for me.
私は
I...
帰りません。アキトのそばにいるって決めたから。
I won't go. I decided to stay with Akito.
ナナミ。
Nanami.
お前は騙されているんだ。今はよくとも、いずれはひどい仕打ちを受けるだろう。
You're being deceived. Even if you think everything is fine now, eventually he will turn on you.
アキトはそんなことしません。私のことを許してくれました。
Akito would never do something like that. He forgave me. As we've already stated, you missed a story arc.
口先だけなら何とでも言える。正気に戻る。
Words are cheap. Return to your senses.
私は正気です。昔よりもずっと。
I'm already in control of my senses, or at least a lot more than I used to be in the past.
一晩考え直す時間をやろう。お前が私の言う通りにするならよし。そうでなければ。
I will give you the night to rethink your decision. If you agree to do as you're told, I won't do anything. However, if you oppose me,
この男を殺して連れ帰る。
I will kill that man and drag you home if I must.
朝までよく考えることだ。
You have until morning. Think carefully.
おいあんた、いい加減にしろ。
Hey, listen here, you fucking bastard. You better knock this crap off.
くそ。
Shit.
アキト、
Akito,
ごめんなさい。私のせいで。
this is all my fault.
は？何がお前のせいなんだよ。
Huh? What part of this is your fault? It's that bastard over there's fault, and I'm gonna kick his ass the second I get this door broken down.
私がもっとしっかりしていれば、ちゃんと周りに気をつけていれば、こんなことにはならなかった。
If I had kept a better head on my shoulders, if I had kept a more watchful eye on our surroundings, this wouldn't have happened.
父がこういう手段に出ることも十分考えられたのに、ごめんなさい。
If I had thought about it clearly, I could have foreseen that my father would take this sort of approach. I'm so sorry.
おい、
Hey,
しっかりしろ。お前は何も悪くないだろう。
hey, get yourself together. You ain't done nothing wrong here. Fuck. I gotta be careful with those double negatives. You've done nothing wrong.
でも、あの人は私の父だから。
But he's my father, so...
父親だからなんだよ。
Yeah, you're biologically related to that fucker,
お
so
前が謝るこ
what?
とになるんだ。
Why are you apologizing for something that's his fucking choice?
アキト、
Akito?
もう他人のことで自分を責めるのはよせ。そうしなきゃいつまで経っても変われねえぞ。お前も俺も。
Stop blaming yourself for crap other people do. If you can't, then nothing will ever change. Not for you or me either. Huh?
俺が復讐心で一緒にいるだ。ふざけたこと言いやがって。
He thinks I'm with you for revenge? What a fucking load of crap.
どうにかしてここを出るぞ。絶対に訂正させてやる。
We're gonna find some way out of here, and then I'm going to make sure he takes those fucking words back when I cut off his dick and shove it in his mouth so that he can't have any more children to abuse.
あの人が自分の考えを変えるなんてありえない。
There's no way he would ever rethink his opinions.
けどだからって。
So, that doesn't mean...
何とかしてここを出ないと。アキトが殺される。
If we don't do something to get out of here, you're going to get killed.
アキトがいなくなったら私は生きていけない。絶対にそれだけは嫌。
If something were to happen to you, I couldn't go on. I absolutely can't let you die.
俺がお前を残して死ぬわけないだろ。
There's no way I'd kick the bucket and leave you behind like that.
泣くな。絶対に大丈夫だから。
Don't cry. Not over this. Everything's gonna be just fine. Okay. The electricity, gas, and water connection were all turned on. Or were all turned off. Our only source of light the electricity, gas, and water connection were all turned off. Our only source of light was an emergency flashlight. With that sparse illumination, we tried once again to open either the door or window, but to no avail. The only thing nearby is the ocean. There aren't many people living out here to speak of. So even if we yell for help, no one will hear us. We have to find some other way to get out. Okay, my thinking here is they're by the ocean.
床の板を剥いでモグラのように土を掘って逃げる。
Let's strip the floorboards and dig our way out like a couple of moles. Yeah, no, what I'm thinking is they're right next to the ocean. If it's a cabin on a beach, then it's gonna be on stilts. I blurred the words out, but even I knew it was a stupid thing to say. It was impossible. We hadn't the time or tools to dig our way out. But I was such a loss for what to do with this that this silly idea was all I could come up with. Akito turned the flashlight towards the floor, illuminating it.
冗談。そんなことできるわけがないってわかってる。
I was joking about the digging thing. I know very well that we can't actually do that.
そうでもないんじゃないか。
No, I think you might actually be onto something. Right choice, yay! Huh?
この辺り、昔はみんな地下水を使ってたって店員が言ってたよな。でも外に井戸はなかった。
Remember how that shopkeeper told us that everyone around here used an underground well? But there was no well outside the house? He trailed off into a murmur as if to test whatever theory he had. Akito began walking around the house.
ここだけ妙な音がしねえか。他の床とは明らかに違う。
Doesn't this spot here sound different than everywhere else? It's definitely not the same as the rest of the floor. Pretty sure there's gotta be something under here. Yeah, no, I was thinking that it was on stilts, so if you broke through the floor, you could drop down onto the beach and run that way. Because every house that's on the coast, like directly up against the sea, kind of, or even like not far from it, like just off of the beach, everyone that I've seen has always been on stilts, usually for like storms that'll push the sea inland, like hurricanes and stuff. Then again, the only place I've seen that is Galveston, so that's my experience. But that was my logic. Anywhere where there's a possibility of flooding, whether it be from the sea or a lake, I've always seen be on stilts, so that was my logic. I figured it would also be on stilts if it was directly on the beach. That's just what would make sense, but I guess not.
クナイ持ってきてるか。貸してくれ。
You still carry kunai around with you? If you do, give one here. Akito used my kunai to pull up the floorboards. Beneath them was a strange round steel plate. Next, he carefully removed the steel plate. Beyond that was a deep hole from which the faint sound of water could be heard. It was a well under the floor, built from a number of
こん
stones.
な場所にどうして？
Why is it here?
俺も井戸ってのは外にあるもんだと思い込んでいたが。けど、台所とかにある家もないわけじゃない。
I had it in my head that if it was a well, it'd be outside, but some houses have them in the kitchen and stuff.
この辺りは地下に洞窟があるって言ってたよな。地下水も洞窟の中の池から汲み上げてるらしいし。
That shopkeeper mentioned an underground cave around here, yeah? And that they get the underground water from a pond inside that cave.
うまくやればその洞窟をたどって地上に出られるかもしれねえ。
If we're lucky, we can make our way through the cave and up to the surface.
でもそんなの危険すぎる。
But that would be way too dangerous.
大丈夫だ。あの店員も言ってただろ。洞窟はガキの遊び場になってるって。
It'll be fine. Remember what that shopkeeper said? Kids play around down there.
結構深そうだが、縄を使えばなんとかなりそうだな。
Seems to be pretty deep, but I think I can make it down. Seems to be pretty deep, but I think I can make it down okay if I use a rope.
アキト、
Akito?
俺が先に様子を見てくる。お前はここで待ってろ。
I'll go first and scope out the area. You wait here.
どうして？行くなら私も一緒に行く。
Why? If you're going, I'm going too.
ダメだ。
No.
どうして？危険じゃないなら私も行っていいはず。
Why not? If it's not dangerous, then it should be fine for me to
こ
join
の
you.
先に何があるかわからねえんだ。絶対に安全だとは言い切れない。こういうのは男の仕事だ。
We don't know for sure what's down there. We can't guarantee that it's safe. I'm not gonna risk letting you get hurt.
だったら私は何をしたらいいの？女の私は何を？
Then what are you saying I should do?
お前は笑ってるだけでいい。
You just need to keep a smile on your face. Huh?
自分の幸せを描けないのはこれ以上ない不幸だ。
Ain't nothing more miserable than not being able to picture your own happiness.
もっと欲を持て。何がしたいとか何が欲しいとか考えろ。俺が片っ端から叶えてやるから。
Be greedy. Think about what it is you want. What it is you want to do, and I'll make sure every single one comes true.
アキト、
Akito?
戻ったら聞くからちゃんと考えておけよ。
When I get back, you can tell me what you've come up with. Think about it in the meantime. Akito took a rope from the corner of the room and lowered himself into the well.
妙な物音がしたが、何をしている？
What are you doing? I just heard some strange sounds coming from in there.
アキトがドアにぶつかった拍子に怪我をして横になっています。
Akito injured himself when he slammed his body against the door, so he's lying down.
軟弱な男だ。まあ、あのうるさい声を聞かずに済めば、お前も冷静に考えられるだろう。
What a weak man. Well, without his grating voice to distract you, you should be able to think calmly about the situation.
アキトは父上が思っているような人じゃありません。許すことを知る本当に優しい人なんです。
Akito isn't who you think he is, asshole. He knows how to forgive people. He's a genuinely kind person.
お前は何も知らないからそんなことが言えるんだ。
You know nothing. That's the only reason you can claim such
この
things.
男は村を追われた後も随分苦労したようだ。弟だけでなく、住む場所も何もかも失ったんだからな。
That man faced considerable hardship after he was driven out of his village. He not only lost his younger brother, but his home and everything else as
お
well.
店の下働きから何から昼夜働き通してようやく生きながらえた。
He eked out a life doing everything from working day and night, doing menial tasks, and taking a job in some small store. How does he know so much about Akito? Did he look into him? But why would he need to go this far?
そんな男が全てを奪ったお前を簡単に許せるはずがない。
It's inconceivable that this man would be able to forgive you so easily after you stole everything from him. The A button on this stupid third-party Joy-Con does not want to work. I might have to open these things up and try to figure out... I may need to open these up and upgrade them at some point. But that's a problem for another time. Obviously, you disagree with this
そん
fucker.
なことはありません。アキトはちゃんと許してくれました。
That's not true at all. Akito really did forgive
これ
me.
はお前が加害者だから言えるんだ。傷を受けた者にしかその痛みはわからない。
That's easy for you to say because you're the transgressor. Only a victim can fully comprehend the pain that man has gone through.
全部アキトが初めてです。人をこんなに好きになったのも、好きになってもらえたのも。
Akito has been my first everything. The first person I have ever loved this much, and the first person who has ever loved me this much. More importantly, the first person to ever show me unconditional love.
父上の意志に逆らってでも誰かを助けたいと思ったことも、そうして私が自分の過ちに気づけたのも。
He was also the first I wanted to help so desperately that I was willing to disobey you. And he was the first to make me realize my mistakes. From the moment we met to when we reunited, and even here the
アキト
present.
は私のすべてです。叶うならあの人と幸せな家庭を築きたいと思ってます。
Akito is my everything. If I can be so lucky, I would like to create a happy family with him, using you as the example of what not to be. I didn't know what my father made of those words. He said nothing and simply walked
言う
away.
ことを聞かない娘をなぜ生かしておくのか理解に苦しむ。
I struggle to comprehend why a father would keep a daughter like you who refuses to obey. Who the hell is that? The voice was familiar to me. I desperately tried to reach back through my memories and identify it. Oh, this is a continued chain of abuse, and Nanami is breaking that shit. This must be her grandfather. This must be the one that abused her father that turned him into an abuser. That doesn't make her father's actions okay ever. And it doesn't justify them. It only explains them. Having an explanation for how things are does not justify how it is. Continuing a cycle of abuse just because you yourself were abused is never okay. That makes you just as bad, if not worse, than your abuser. And the only reason I say it might make you worse is because you might be more damaged than they were, depending on how bad things get. And you might damage the next person further. But also, even if that's not the case, then the one being abused had most of the time has unless they get so severely damaged that they are unable to think for themselves whatsoever, has the opportunity to break that cycle of abuse, to break that chain. And then if they choose not to, then they are worse than their abuser for actively making the choice not to break that cycle. Now, if they become so damaged that they no longer have the choice, that becomes a point where they need therapy so bad that it doesn't justify their actions still, but it becomes a lot more tragic. And, it doesn't make them worse, it just makes them another equally bad link in the chain that was broken so bad that they couldn't break free. And unfortunately ended up continuing. Humans are complicated, unfortunately. But continuing abuse is never okay.
お前の処遇については 一族で結論を出した。
The family has come to a collective decision about what should be done with you. As I suspected, he's from the Shiranui family as well. Was he on the same level as my father, or was he higher on the hierarchy? The only thing I could be certain about was that he was above me, at least.
おとなしく言うことを聞くなら問題ない。しかし、従わないようなら殺す。
But as long as you come along willingly, there's no issue. But if you won't, we'll kill you.
当然だろう。お前の能力は危険だ。我らに復讐しないとも限らない。
Sensible, yes. Your powers are too dangerous. There's no guarantee you won't try to take revenge on us.
朝まで待ってくれると言った。まだ時間はある。
Father promised we had until morning to make the decision. There's still time.
お前の意志が変わらないことぐらい分かりきったことだ。
It's obvious that your position on this matter isn't going to change.
私はお前の父よりも序列が上だ。今回の決定権は私にある。
My rank is higher than your father's. I have the authority to make the call on this.
おい、火をつけろ。
You there. Set the place on fire.
私はもう力はない。ただの人間になったの。
I don't have my powers anymore. I'm just a normal
お
human.
前の父親もそんなことを言っていたぞ。使い物にはならないから放っておけと。
Yes, your father said the same thing, that you were useless to us now and we should just leave you be. What?
しかし、誰がそんなことを信じる。能力の有無など、お前を拷問にかける以外、証明のしようがあるまい。
But what fool would fall for that? There's no way to prove whether you still have powers or not outside of torturing you to find out. Torture doesn't get that kind of information, fucker.
不確かな情報を進言するとは、お前の父も落ちぶれたものだ。
Your father's truly grown soft, advising the family with such uncertain information.
朝まで待つなど、なんと悠長なことを言う。その間に逃げられれば、元も子もない。
And he's far too relaxed, saying we would wait until morning. If you ran in the meantime, all of this would have been for
私を
naught.
監視につけた一族の判断は間違ってなかったな。
It seems the family made a correct decision assigning me to keep an eye on things.
お前は罪深い娘だ。豪華に焼かれて死ぬのがふさわしい。
You are a deeply sinful daughter. You deserve to have your life smothered by flames. No, he can't really mean to... This cottage was made entirely of wood, so it took no time at all for it to be engulfed in flames. What at first was a small spark moved into a raging beast all around me. I need to run to the well. I told myself I could do this. I spun around and headed to where the well is in the floor. But just then... With a loud rumble, the burnt ceiling above me came crashing down. Having gained even more fuel, the flames around me roared, growing more intense. What should I do? At this rate, Another ominous crack sound came from overhead. A fierce sound reverberated as if announcing the end. My feet were frozen, nailed in place by the fear of my impending death. Reflexively, I snapped my eyes shut.
怪我はねえか、ナナミ。
Are you hurt, Nanami? Akito caught the pillar that was about to fall with his arm. Even as his own face contorted in pain, he still showed concern for me. He summoned all his strength to shove the pillar aside before snatching my hand. The two of us raced for the well. Once we climbed down the rope, we found ourselves in a pitch-black cave. The sound of water in the distance indicated that this place was fairly large, but the humidity was almost unbearable, so we couldn't stay here for long.
予想した通り、 天使の言っていた地下道につながってた。潮の匂いをたどっていけば出口が見つかるはずだ。
I knew the shopkeeper was right about the well leading to an underground passage. If we follow the sea air, we should find a way out.
大丈夫か？どこか怪我はしてないか？
You okay? Not hurt anywhere, are you?
私は平気。それよりアキトの腕の方が。
I'm fine. I'm more worried about your arm.
心配すんな。これくらいどうってことねえよ。
Don't worry, ain't no big deal.
まさか火をつけるなんて思わなかった。お前が無事で本当によかった。
I didn't think they'd set the place on fire. I'm just glad you're okay. Really? When the door and when every exit was blocked, you didn't think they'd try to burn the place down with you two in it? Yeah, no.
火を放ったのは父じゃなかった。別の知らぬ池の人間。
My father didn't start the fire. It was someone else in the family.
そうなのか。てっきり父親とその部下くらいしかいないのかと思ってたな。
Seriously, I figured the only people who'd come were your father and his
父
subordinates.
は私が能力を失っていることを知ってたみたいなの。
My father knows that I lost my
一
powers.
族にそう進言したって。その真偽を確かめるために今回監視役をつけられたって。
That's what this man said. That's what this man said he'd been telling the family, at least. And this man was appointed to keep an eye on things and judge whether it was true or not.
その監視役がコテージに火をつけたのか。
So this overseer guy is the one who set fire to the cottage then?
朝まで待つ意味がないと。その間に逃げられたら困るからって言ってた。
Yeah, he said he didn't want to wait till morning because it would only cause problems if I ran in the meantime.
まあ、そうだよな。ここまで来て俺たちに猶予を与えるメリットがない。
Yeah, I can see their twisted logic there. Ain't no benefit for them in cutting us some slack.
じゃあ父はどうしてあんなことを言ったの？何か別の狙いがあるの？
Then why did my father say what he did? Did he have some other goal?
さあな。とりあえず話は後だ。今はここを出ることに集中するぞ。
Who can say? Let's leave the musing for later. Right now we need to focus on getting out of here. We cautiously proceeded forward, a flashlight illuminating the way. I have to cut it here, fellow dragons. I need to get ready for work. I don't feel good, but I have to go to work anyway. Because if I don't have a fever, then there's no reason for me to call in. Which is disgusting and stupid. But I also can't afford to call in even if I do get a fever, now that I think about it. So, I'll wrap this up next episode. Next episode's probably going to be a much shorter one, but that's fine. The last two were really long because I just could not find a point that I felt comfortable stopping. Bye, fellow dragons.